Lots of people giving away bottled water, so, and if you do have to buy it, don't spend very much for it. We had the examples of people being overcharged for it. There's an emergency order in effect, and then an expanding order coming with serious penalties for overcharging for anything. So you certainly don't have to pay anything for water if you can find it for free, and if you do have to pay something, pay the regular price for it, because that's the law.
Do not go and pay the exorbitant price. Okay, it is, as we said, 7 o'clock. Let's give you our 7 o'clock update, the latest on the damage caused by Hurricane Andrew. We estimate now that $20 billion worth of damage has been done. 180,000 people are homeless, 35,000 still in shelters, 15 dead in Florida, 1 dead in Louisiana, 4 in the Bahamas. Before you change that, I want to tell you that when you see and read about how the people died, a majority of them did not heed the message. They were in trailer parks, they were in mobile homes. The mobile home flipped over, someone was crushed, someone was in an abandoned pickup truck, someone tried to wait out the storm in a building that he knew was not able to withstand the storm. Again, we're going to tell you to boil the water. 590,000 residents now still without power. We are 4 minutes into the Dade County curfew, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. The curfew does not extend, though, to Homestead. 70 people were arrested last night for violating that curfew, and we are told that tonight it will be enforced even stricter. And $10 million in federal funds announced today by President Bush for cleanup jobs.
The Homestead curfew is in effect at 11 p.m. tonight. There still is an overnight curfew, but Joaquin Avignon, the county manager, wanted to give folks in Homestead time to get these food distribution centers because of just the incredible logistic problem of getting around Homestead. So that's why there is no curfew there.
When you think about what Florida Power and Light has been able to do today in the last couple of days, it's absolutely amazing. I heard you and Kelly talking just before I came on that just to be able to see those trucks in South Dade.
It's all about, they ought to put big flags on these trucks so people know that they're out there, big searchlights at night so people know that hope is on the way as far as electricity.
We continue to get calls and calls and calls about food. I got a call from some people, they had 10,000 pounds of chicken. They didn't know what to do with it. It was cooked. They needed to have it distributed. Another one, a doctor called me and said, I have a semi-trailer coming down from Chicago filled with Sara Lee products. What can I do with that? And that seems to be one of the big problems that we're dealing with now is we have people wanting to give all of this food, all of this water. What do you do with it once it gets here? How do you distribute it?
We have more people in South Dade. Just in Kendall, the immediate Kendall area, there are more people than there are in Charleston, right? And Charleston was damaged, but people could still live in most of their homes there. And here we've wiped out the entire area, and they had a distribution problem in Charleston. So the distribution problem in South Dade is so much bigger than they ever saw in Hurricane Hugo, and it was a massive problem in Hurricane Hugo. So just, taking a truck down to South Dade doesn't solve the problem. You have people spread out without normal sorts of means of access to the various neighborhoods. It's still a tremendous, tremendous problem, and it is going to take time to get that system in place.
And you know what else? I got a call from Rick Peters from Magic 102.7, and he told me a story about his brother-in-law who lost everything, and all he knew of was what was going on his block in South Miami. He had no idea what was going on anywhere else in the community. And finally, he thought, maybe I should get into my car and turn on the radio. He was in shock, so he could finally find out what to do and where to go. And I'm sure this is just one of several thousands of cases where people are just, their whole world, not only has it been blown apart, but it's now blown apart in a one-block area, and that's all they know. They can't move anywhere else.
And now that we're getting the power back on, I think we're getting there's so much more awareness about the people. And now in Broward and slowly in Dade County that have not been able to see South Dade, especially now the travel to South Dade is restricted. And of course, most folks in Broward really don't have occasion to go to South Dade. It's really a pretty good trip under any circumstances. And it's impossible now because of the traffic and the roads that are closed and everything else. So we're getting more awareness, and we're having a massive outpouring from folks in Broward County. In fact, it's probably a good time to mention the telethon coming up with the Palm Beach television stations All of the West Palm Beach television stations, that's Channel 5, Channel 12, Channel 25, Channel 29, and Channel 34, are having a telethon tomorrow night from 8 to 10 o'clock. And this is very important for Broward folks, too. There you see it there, tomorrow night, 8 to 10 o'clock, because Broward, Channel 5, and Channel 12 is on most of the cable systems there, and you can receive them off the air. And all of the money is going to go to the hurricane relief effort in South Dade County. So we certainly, as a Dade County resident, can't tell you how much we appreciate that effort by those television stations getting together in Palm Beach County. And we should repeat, I guess, that we would like to do the same thing, but we've determined, because of the telephone problems here of calling inside of Dade County and even calling from Broward to Dade County, we don't want to tie up the phone systems any more than they already are, and we run the risk of shutting down the phone system. So we're going to hold off just a little bit, but for now, we certainly appreciate those efforts in Palm Beach County.
You know, it's amazing. We've had our reporters on the street all day. We've had live pictures from Sky 4 with Kerry Sanders, and we have shown you a majority of the devastation as a result of Hurricane Andrew. But prior to Brian and I going on, we still haven't seen areas like Cocoa Plum. We have not seen that. We have not seen areas of Coral Gables because we have just not been able to get to these places.
You can't drive through a lot of the gables because the trees are down. Of course, Coral Gables, tremendous number of trees. So we're efforting that. And also we've been concentrating where the houses have been destroyed. At Coral Gables, we saw, had in the dozens of houses destroyed, where in Kendall we have in the thousands, or maybe even more than that, houses destroyed.
I'm told we have a live picture of a relief helicopter. This is a live picture. This relief helicopter is on its way. Is on its way to Homestead, and we had gotten a call earlier about, why can't we fly some of these goods in? If you can get them to Bosnia, why can't we get them to South Miami? And we are taking a look at this now oh, can you imagine the people on the ground seeing this chopper land with bags of relief help? It's got to be a wonderful, wonderful sight. It's certainly wonderful to us, and we're sitting here in the studios.
Do we have any idea where this chopper has come from or where it's going? Anybody upstairs?
I have been told that it is going to Homestead. We have not yet seen, other than that, any kind of landmark.
I recognize that tree. No.
Brian, if you recognize that tree, buddy, you recognize that one? We don't know. It is
some place in South Florida with 2 palm trees left standing, and that there aren't many places like this.
But it is comforting to know that we see this relief helicopter coming in. And once again, our producers upstairs, if you are in any kind of communication, if you can give us some sort of... Okay, and Mark Angotti just told me we are efforting to find out exactly where this helicopter
We're in communication
is going.
with the cameraman. If you could just zoom out, maybe we could recognize something, possibly. Looks like there are actually some power poles standing. And folks that are listening down there would know where to go if we knew exactly where this thing is going. It's really... Oh, look at that. I haven't seen outside today. Actually, it's sort of a pretty evening out there.
It is a pretty evening. It's an eerie sight, though, as you see.
It looks like, it looks like Baghdad or something, doesn't it? To see that kind of a helicopter flying over in amongst those power lines.
Certainly is reminiscent of what we saw in Desert Storm,
in Desert Storm, that's what I was thinking, yeah. And actually, the sky has sort of a deserty look to it, I guess it's because of the high clouds out there. By the way, while we're watching this happen, we've gotten some calls, people concerned about other storms that may be developing. It is, of course, the beginning of the peak of the hurricane season, and there is nothing certainly imminent. There are several systems all the way across the other side of the Atlantic that are going to bear watching in the long term, but there's nothing to worry about in the short term at all. In spite of the fact there's a terrible system looks on the satellite picture, but it is not going to bother anybody.
It is interesting. You kind of want to stick with this at the moment to see where this chopper is going.
This is going to be the biggest letdown of the year if this guy's on some kind of training mission or something.
I don't think you should say that. Not now.
Let me. We might as well do a couple other things. Well, we are
told that they had some. Well, we are told that there were, as we had seen earlier through Kerry Sanders, there were mob scenes when people had an opportunity to get water, and what we are told now, this chopper might be circling an area until proper security is put in place.
Helicopters are very dangerous things, in spite of the fact
it is Homestead somewhere.
The rotor is above head level. But if someone were to do the wrong thing, they are very, very dangerous. So, And also the other thing that can happen as a helicopter is landing, occasionally there's a gust of wind and it shifts over or something. So the tail rotor on a helicopter actually is the very, very dangerous part.
Because that is right at head level.
Right at head level, right. I'll tell you, while let me answer another question about the hurricane. We got several calls into the Storm Center. Brian Allen told me, well, let me see, we recognize?
We have,
well, now we know it's in Dade County, but I think we knew that before. Dade. I feel like we're playing Wheel of Fortune here.
Yes, and we're not doing very well at it either.
Dade.
There's Homestead down there, Dade County, Homestead. And there isn't a landmark that we...
I mean, if I were trying to think in Homestead, I thought maybe they landed at Harris Park or someplace like that at Homestead.
Harris Field?
Harris Field?
I'm not sure. You know, Brian, you might be right.
Just trying to think in Homestead, although there's lots of open space in parts of the town. You know,
I mean, Harris Field would be... Well, there's a tower.
I wonder if that could be at the Air Force Base. No, because it was Dade County. It wouldn't be at the...
And Harris Field is still in Dade.
No, but I mean, it was the signs at Dade County as opposed to a U.S. government sign of some kind. The tower is not in working shape either, you can see.
And we are hearing some ambient sound of voices saying, bring it down, so...
We may yet find out here.
Tony, this is Ed. Can you hear me?
Ed, Ed, where are you?
I'm over here. We're just in front of the camera that you're seeing that going down. That helicopter came at us from over by Homestead Air Force Base, and it seems to have circled for quite a while. It looked as though it was waiting for some clearance to land. Now, I can tell you, this is Campbell Drive that we're on. It seemed to have landed somewhere about west of Chrome Avenue. Now, in that direction, as you can see, if Pedro, if you tilt up there again, you can see a Coast Guard helicopter just pulling out of that area. I think possibly there is some sort of military depot over there. And I can tell you, as we were driving down the Turnpike extension here to Homestead today, there was a very large, a huge military caravan that was snaking its way down, getting interfered with by a lot of traffic on the Turnpike as it was headed south. That military convoy had a lot of Air Force personnel involved in it.